The buried twin. Deep in the forest, she dug a grave, not for a stranger, but for her own twin sister. Unconscious, silent, buried by jealousy. This was not war, this was envy. A sister willing to bury blood just to steal a destiny. She thought the earth would hide her crime, but destiny was awake, and what followed would shake the town forever. In the ancient Yoruba settlement of Ile-Oluji, where the evening moon touched the rooftops like a silver blessing, a strange wind swept through the compound of Mama Aduke. Women returning from the stream paused. Goats bleated restlessly. The massive Iroko tree behind her hut groaned as though something old had awakened. For that night, Aduke, the kind, soft-spoken wife of Balogun, the village hunter, went into labor. The midwives hurried in with calabashes of hot water and herbal smoke, but the moment her first baby slipped into the world, every lamp in the hut flickered. "She came with peace," the oldest midwife whispered as the baby girl blinked up at her. "See her face, calm like the river at dawn." They named her Folake. But only moments later, the lantern flames trembled again, this time violently. A cold breeze pushed through the windows even though the night was still. The second baby arrived, wailing loudly, tiny fists clenched, eyes sharp and fiery like she had stepped out of a quarrel. The midwife stepped back shaking. "Huh? This one came fighting," she muttered. They named her Bimpe. Two twins, identical faces, opposite destinies. And above the hut, the second moon, a rare celestial sign in Ile-Oluji, hung silently in the sky. The elders later whispered, "Twins born under the second moon are destined to fight for one destiny. Only one will shine." But that night, nobody understood what the ancestors were trying to say. As the twins grew, their differences sharpened like a machete on a stone. Folake, the calm one, moved like a gentle breeze. She fetched water before sunrise, swept the compound, and sang old folk songs with a sweetness that made even the birds pause. Bimpe, however, walked like thunder. Her footsteps came with impatience. She grew bold, stubborn, and restless, always looking for where attention was shining so she could drag it back to herself. Whenever Folake was praised, Bimpe's eyes tightened. Whenever Folake smiled, Bimpe found a reason to frown. Villagers began saying, "Wherever light stands, shadow must lie beside it." Mama Aduke noticed something else, something darker. There were days Bimpe's eyes glowed with a strange old fire, like a spirit was peeping through her. Other days she would talk to herself behind the hut, muttering to the wind, smiling at nothing, laughing when no one spoke. Aduke prayed for her. She bathed her with protective herbs. She tied red thread around her waist for peace. She sacrificed white fowls at the shrine for cleansing, but nothing softened Bimpe's envy. And envy, if not broken early, grows teeth. Years passed like dry leaves carried by the Hamatan wind. Then one sunny market day, a royal procession from the Ondo kingdom entered Ile-Oluji. At the center rode Prince Tunde, tall, elegant, and kind-eyed. He came searching for unique palm wine tappers and rare herbalists, but fate led his eyes to Folake. She was carrying firewood that slipped from her hands when she saw the royal horses. The prince rushed to help her pick them up. When she smiled shyly, something in his heart clicked into place. He said, "That is the one," he said softly. He returned to the palace and told his guards, "Find out who she is. I want her hand in marriage." That evening, the village buzzed like a disturbed anthill. Folake blushed, Aduke danced, even the elders smiled. But one person stood in the doorway of their hut, watching silently, Bimpe. Her jaw tightened, her fists clenched like on the day she was born. Her heart twisted with a jealousy sharp enough to cut her breath. When she overheard the elders congratulating her sister, something snapped inside her, something that had been sleeping for years. She ran to her mother. "Mother, I want to be the one married to the prince." Her mother looked at her in surprise and confusion. "Bimpe, how can I do that? The prince already chose your sister and you should be happy for her. Besides, she's your elder sister. It's good she's getting married before you." Bimpe went to find her twin sister. She found her behind the hut feeding their goats. She smiled at her and said, "Folake, sister, there's a favor I wish to ask of you." Folake asked her what it was, promising to help her with it if she could. "I want to be the one to marry the prince. Would you let me marry him instead?" Bimpe asked greedily. Folake was speechless for a moment. Then she shook her head. "Bimpe, that's a strange favor to ask of me. I also like the prince and would want to marry him since he chose me. Don't worry, your own man will come, okay?" Bimpe didn't press any further. She simply turned and walked away with an angry face. Standing under the tree in their compound, Bimpe stared intently at Folake sitting in front of the hut, her gaze full of jealousy, piercing as she whispered, "If I cannot be chosen, I will make sure she is never chosen. If I cannot marry the prince, over my dead body will she marry him." And the shadow inside her opened its eyes. At dawn the next day, Folake set out to fetch water. It was tradition for girls about to be betrothed to cleanse themselves at the river, but she made a mistake. She went alone. Folake was innocent. She did not suspect danger. Bimpe followed secretly and silently, her steps soft like a hunter creeping behind prey. When Folake bent down to fill her clay pot, water shimmering around her reflection, Bimpe lifted a thick clay bowl. Her breathing grew heavy, her vision blurred with rage. The shadow inside her smiled. She struck. The bowl cracked on Folake's head. Folake gasped, swayed and collapsed. Bimpe stared at her still body. Her heartbeat drummed wildly, but her face was cold. "You will not walk into my destiny," she whispered. "I will walk into yours." She grabbed Folake by the arms, dragging her into the deep bush where the forest swallowed sunlight. The branches above groaned as though the ancestors were watching. Bimpe dug with trembling hands, a shallow grave, wide enough for a body, deep enough to hide a secret. Then she pushed Folake inside, covered her with earth, and stood there panting, her hands shaking, her eyes wild. The forest went silent. Even the birds refused to sing. But she walked away, believing her shadow had finally defeated the light. What Bimpe did not know was that someone was watching. Wale, a young palm wine tapper, had been high up in a palm tree, fixing his rope. From there, he saw Bimpe dragging a faint body, her own twin's body, through the forest. He saw the dust on her feet. He saw the shovel in her hand. He saw the fresh grave, and he saw her leave quickly, looking over her shoulder with guilt. Wale's heart pounded. "No," he whispered, "this cannot be what I think." But the ancestors pushed him. His spirit would not let him walk away. He climbed down the tree and ran to the grave. The soil was still warm. He fell to his knees and dug with bare hands until his nails bled. Then he felt warm skin. Folake, still breathing, faint, half buried, half alive. Wale carried her to Mama Kemi, a feared healer who understood the ways of spirits. The old woman touched Folake's chest and nodded. "The innocent do not die easily," she said. "She carries light, and light cannot be buried." She washed her with sacred leaves, chanted ancient prayers, fighting the darkness that tried to grip her spirit. Before dawn, Folake opened her eyes, but she did not cry, she did not scream. She only whispered, "Bimpe, my twin sister, wanted my life." And with that, destiny shifted. The village of Ile-Oluji woke to a calm morning, but beneath that calm was the quiet footstep of a lie walking confidently into daylight. Bimpe washed herself quickly at the stream and packed her braids exactly the way Folake always did. She parted her cloth, which was similar to Folake's. Then she practiced Folake's soft smile. She practiced the gentle tone. She practiced the humble walk. By the time she stepped into Ile-Oluji village, she looked like Folake,
but she carried the spirit of a lie wrapped in stolen peace. Villagers greeted her with excitement. "Ah, Folake, the bride of the prince. Welcome, our daughter. You are blessed beyond measure." Bimpe lowered her eyes, pretending to be shy. But one person's heart trembled, Mama Aduke, their mother. As soon as Bimpe stepped into the compound, Aduke rushed forward, smiling with maternal relief. But when she touched Bimpe's arms, her smile slowly faded. "Folake, where is your sister?" Aduke asked carefully. Bimpe stiffened. She forced a small smile. "She went to fetch palm leaves. She will return later." Aduke blinked. At that early hour, without telling her mother, and without her twins never separated without a word. Aduke's voice dropped. "Folake, look into my eyes. Are you sure Bimpe is safe?" Bimpe swallowed hard. Her throat felt tight. "Yes, Mama," she whispered. But the heart of a mother is not fooled easily. Aduke traced her fingers across Bimpe's palms. They were slightly rough. She looked at her feet, a little dusty, stained with forest mud in some places. In her hurry, she hadn't washed them properly. "Where did you go this morning?" she asked slowly. Bimpe's body tensed like a caught thief. I walked by the stream," she lied. Aduke nodded slowly, but worry crawled into her heart like a cold shadow. By midday, Aduke became restless. Her other daughter still had not returned. She started going about asking people if they had seen Bimpe, her other twin daughter. The villagers realized something was wrong. Only one twin was visible in the entire village. Women began whispering. Men frowned. Elders muttered ancient warnings. Twins are two halves of the same coconut. If one is missing, something has gone wrong. "Where is Bimpe?" Aduke stood in her hut, tears from panic already streaming down her cheeks. A small crowd formed in front of her hut. People began asking questions, loud, worried questions. Aduke stepped out, her voice trembling. "My people, I have not seen Bimpe since this morning." The villagers immediately organized a search. Young men grabbed lanterns and cutlasses. Women started checking river paths and forest trails. Elders offered prayers. Bimpe stood in their midst, pretending to be worried, but inside her chest, her heart beat like a trapped drum. A young hunter approached her. "Folake, she's your twin sister. Did she say anything to you?" Bimpe forced tears into her eyes. "I don't know where she is," she whispered. The lie rolled effortlessly from her lips, but the ancestors heard it. Drums suddenly echoed from the village gate. Prince Tunde had arrived, but instead of celebration, he walked into confusion. The prince frowned. "What is happening?" The elders explained. "One of the twins is missing." Prince Tunde's eyes grew sharp with concern. "Where's Folake?" Bimpe stepped forward quickly, lifting her voice gently. "I am here, my prince." She lowered her gaze, acting shy. The prince relaxed a little, but he sensed something else, a strange coldness, like air refusing to settle around her. Still, he greeted her warmly. "Do not worry, my dear. We will find your sister." Bimpe smiled faintly, pretending to be touched, but inside her heart, panic spread like wildfire. That night, after the village-wide search ended with no success, Bimpe slept in Folake's place. But sleep refused her. Instead, a soft sound pierced the silence. Tap, tap, tap. It came from beneath the ground, from beneath the earth, from beneath the lie. Bimpe jolted up, shivering. "Mama, Mama," she called softly. Aduke, who couldn't sleep because of her missing daughter, rushed inside. "My child, what is it?" Bimpe looked around quickly, scared the sound would repeat, but it had stopped. She wiped her forehead. "I just had a nightmare." But Aduke saw it, the terror behind her eyes, the guilt hiding in her trembling. Her worry deepened. Meanwhile, in Mama Kemi's healing hut, Folake was slowly regaining strength. Wale fed her weak broth. Mama Kemi washed the last grain of dirt from her hair. "Wonder shall never end. This child survived the earth. The ancestors are not sleeping," the old healer whispered. Folake's voice was faint. "My twin, she tried to kill me." Mama Kemi nodded slowly. The spirit of jealousy is a fire that burns its owner first. Wale clenched his fists. She will not get away with this. I saw her. I saw what she did. But Mama Kemi lifted a hand. Let destiny speak. A lie can walk bravely in the sun, but when night comes, truth rises like a cold wind. Folake closed her eyes. The day of truth was coming. The next morning, Bimpe went to the well to draw water, but as she leant over, her reflection changed. Instead of her own face, she saw Folake, pale, covered in soil, eyes wide open, mouth slightly parted. Bimpe screamed and threw the pot away. Women ran toward her. What is it, Folake? Talk to us. Bimpe trembled. Nothing. Leave me alone. But the whispers began. This one is not acting like Folake. Why is she trembling like a guilty thief? Something is off. The village began to suspect, but they did not know what yet. Even though her twin was missing, the wedding preparation continued, and the search for her continued. During pre-wedding rehearsals, the maidens danced while the drums rolled like thunder. Bimpe stepped forward to join them, but when she tried to dance, her feet stiffened, her knees locked, her body refused to obey. She stumbled and almost fell. The lead drummer hissed softly. Folake is the best dancer. What could be wrong with her this time? Aduke rushed forward, fear choking her voice. My child, what is happening to you? Bimpe forced a smile that shook at the edges. I am only tired. But then she heard words whispered quietly, carried in the wind. You cannot dance in the clothes of the innocent. 2 nights before the wedding, Folake hadn't been found. Aduke was dying with worry, torn between being happy for her daughter's coming wedding and sad about her still missing daughter. That night, Bimpe sat before a bronze mirror plate, dressing her hair. She hummed to calm herself. Then the reflection flickered. Her face vanished. Folake's face appeared, bruised, dusty, smiling sadly. Bimpe's blood turned to ice. Then the reflection whispered, Bimpe, I am coming. The mirror darkened. The room turned cold. Bimpe screamed and ran to a corner, curling into herself. At last, guilt and fear swallowed her heart. She understood. Destiny was coming for payment. The morning sun rose over Ile-Oluji village, but its light felt strange, dimmer, weaker, as if the heavens were preparing for something heavy. Birds chirped, but their songs were short. Palms rustled, but the wind was unrestless. Even the ancestors' shrines seemed to watch in silence. This was not a normal day. This was a day destiny had marked. The palace courtyard was decorated with palm fronds, fresh flowers, and bright cloth. Drummers tuned their drums. Maidens rehearsed the steps they had practiced for weeks. Elders sat under the iroko tree, waiting to bless the union. Everything was ready, but the air was heavy. Prince Tunde dressed slowly, adjusting his coral beads and embroidered wrapper. Yet something pricked his heart. He told his advisor, I feel as though I am walking into a storm. The advisor smiled politely, but said nothing. Royal matters were not for him to question. Meanwhile, the village gathered with excitement. Folake will soon be a queen. The gods have favored her. Ile-Oluji village will be honored forever. Everyone waited for the bride. Everyone waited for Folake. But the wrong girl was preparing herself in the hut. Bimpe stood before the mirror again. She wrapped herself in fine red cloth. She placed coral beads on her neck. She painted her lips lightly. She smiled at her reflection, but the reflection did not smile. Instead, it frowned. Then the beads around her neck tightened suddenly, almost choking her. Bimpe gasped, grabbing them with both hands. She tore them off, panting. Her hands shook, her heart raced, but she forced herself to calm. No, I cannot go back now. I have come too far. She stepped out of the hut. Everyone gasped at her beauty, but Aduke's heart dropped. She walked towards Bimpe slowly, fear gripping her spine. My daughter, my spirit has not rested since your sister went missing. I should be happy you are getting married, but I feel as though I am doing something wrong. Bimpe inhaled sharply. Her eyes darted away. Mama, I too am heartbroken that my sister hasn't been found, but this is no longer just my marriage. It has become a union of two kingdoms, one that will bring joy and pride to our village. She placed a hand on her mother's shoulder. Mama, do not worry. We will find her. She will be safe. Aduke grabbed her arm. Her voice trembled. Folake, you are right. Bimpe, your sister will be all right, and we will find her. Bimpe smiled stiffly. But before anyone else could speak, the drummers called, Bride, come forward. Bimpe used the distraction to pull away. She walked towards the palace, but her feet felt heavy, as if the ground itself was warning her. Miles away in Mama Kemi's hut, Folake was slowly regaining strength. Wale fed her weak broth. Mama Kemi washed the last grain of dirt from her hair. Wonder shall never end. This child survived the earth. The ancestors are not sleeping, the old healer whispered. Folake's voice was faint. My twin, she tried to kill me. Mama Kemi nodded slowly. The spirit of jealousy is a fire that burns its owner first. Wale clenched his fists. She will not get away with this. I saw her. I saw what she did. But Mama Kemi lifted a hand. Let destiny speak. A lie can walk bravely in the sun, but when night comes, truth rises like a cold wind. Folake closed her eyes. The day of truth was coming. Back at the palace, Bimpe walked proudly into the courtyard. People cheered. Ah, Folake is beautiful. Future queen, blessings follow you. Prince Tunde smiled warmly and stretched out his hand to welcome her. But as Bimpe stepped forward, the drums suddenly stopped. Every single drum, one by one, boom, boom, then silence. The air thickened. A cold wind swept across the courtyard. The elders stood abruptly. Their staffs trembled in their hands.
The chief priest frowned deeply. His cowrie-covered staff glowed faintly. This is not a day for drums, he whispered. The ancestors are restless. Bimpe's skin crawled. Her heart pounded. Something moved behind her. Something was coming. From the far end of the village path, people suddenly pointed. Who is that? Is that? No, it cannot be. It is her. It is Folake. Everyone turned. Prince Tunde dropped his hand, eyes widening. Bimpe spun around. And there, walking calmly through the village gate, was Folake. Alive, breathing, clean, radiant. Her white wrapper glowed under the sun. The charm on her wrist shimmered. Her braids were neatly tied. Her skin was whole. She looked like a woman who had walked out of heaven. Villagers screamed in shock. Oh my God, this cannot be. She was lost. She was missing for days. What is happening? Bimpe stumbled backward, her lips trembling violently. No, no, this is not possible. Prince Tunde stepped forward, confused and angry. He first stared at Bimpe, then turned to the person his heart suddenly skipped for. Are you Folake? What happened to you? Where have you been? But Folake's eyes were locked on one person, Bimpe, her twin, her betrayer, her shadow. She walked straight toward her, and Bimpe's knees buckled. Bimpe collapsed, shaking uncontrollably. Her voice cracked, her breath hitched. What are you, Folake? A spirit? A ghost? I buried you. I buried you. How are you standing here? The villagers gasped. Prince Tunde's eyes widened in horror. You buried your own sister? The elder stood up at once. Their mother, Aduke, walked out dazed, her face a mask of shock and disbelief. The chief priest grabbed his staff. Bimpe, daughter of Aduke, this is your mouth speaking. Do not blame a spirit. Bimpe sobbed uncontrollably. I didn't mean, she always took everything. Everything. The love, the respect, even the prince. Her voice broke into screaming. I was supposed to shine, not her. Folake stepped closer, her voice calm like water. You wanted my destiny, but destiny is not something you can steal. She lifted her wrist, showing the ancestral charm glowing softly. The earth rejected your crime. The ancestors carried me out of the grave. At that moment, the villagers chatted as Wale stepped forward. He bowed before the chief priest. His voice was clear and strong. She speaks the truth. I saw Bimpe walking away from a fresh grave that morning, shovel in hand, feet covered with soil. When she left, I dug with my bare hands and found Folake inside, still breathing. Gasps filled the air. Aduke collapsed to the ground, wailing in pain. "Oh, my children! My children! Oh God, what is this evil?" Prince Tunde looked at Bimpe with horror and disappointment. "You would kill your own sister for marriage?" Bimpe sobbed harder, shaking violently, but justice had already begun its work. The chief priest stood up. His voice was thunder. "Bimpe, you have committed an abomination. The attempted killing of your own twin. The bond of twins is sacred." The elders echoed, "Sacred." The chief priest raised his staff. "For this crime, the ancestors decree. You shall be taken to the evil forest. You shall wander until your spirit finds repentance. You shall not return to the village again." Bimpe screamed as the guards grabbed her. "No, please, Mama, Mama, help me." Aduke tried to stand but fainted. Her cries echoed in the compound. Bimpe clawed at the ground, kicking, begging, shaking, but the earth was done with her. The guards dragged her away into the dark forest, into the place where shadows eat their owners. Silence fell. Everyone turned to Folake gently. Prince Tunde walked toward her, eyes soft. "I am grateful you survived, and I ask with respect, will you still allow me the honor of marrying you?" Folake looked at him with calm eyes. "My prince, I accept, but not with pride. I accept with humility, because destiny is deeper than beauty." The villagers clapped. The elders blessed her. Palm fronts swayed in agreement. And so, Folake married Prince Tunde, not as a proud bride, but as a woman who had walked through death and returned. Her story became a lesson. Her life became a proverb. As for Bimpe, she walked the eerie forest for days, hungry and thirsty. She ate wild berries, slept under trees, suffered from cold, and drank her urine. Her cloth was torn, looking like a rag. Most times she would hear whispers calling her name and proclaiming suffering upon her, and she would run until her legs ached. This became her life, a life of a wanderer for as long as no one knew. The elders taught children, jealousy is a spirit that eats its owner first. You can bury a person, but you cannot bury their destiny. The village never forgot. Folake never forgot. Even the forest never forgot. Because on quiet nights, some say you can still hear Bimpe's voice drifting through the trees, calling out in regret. But destiny does not answer. Destiny only watches.